Hey everybody, welcome to Saga Podcast, the Space Arena Ground Arena podcast. We got the whole crew back. Mr. Banana, how's it going?
I'm good.
And Ben Crapshoot, how's it going? I messed those up on purpose.
I'm also good.
You're also good. Good enough for today. So, it's our first, everybody together since the release of Twilight of the Republic. How y'all feeling?
Loosey goosey is how I'm feeling. I don't know how's Ben feeling.
Probably the best I have all year. I kind of briefly touched on it. I think the last time we were all together that I had this horrible dental mishap thing. I had my last procedure this week. No cracked teeth, no lost teeth. Ultimately, it all got taken care of, but it has been a painful and miserable year, and I'm finally feeling normal again.
Well,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited because this is one of my favorite eras of Star Wars, and we finally have cards for it. More than one or two cards for it. And I have been completely excited about the set mechanics that I thought weren't going to be super exciting. And I'm sure we'll talk about those in another episode. But for today, we're going to be playing our Tiers or Tiers minigame. So, as a reminder of how this all works, we're going to go Banana, Mr. Ben, and then myself. And when it's your turn, you're able to place a hero somewhere onto the tier board, or you can move a hero up or down as long as it wasn't a hero that was just moved or just placed, so you can't bounce back and forth too much. And we've all made our own tier lists ahead of time that we'll release with the episode as well, and then see what our aggregate tier list is. And then we'll see who sort of had the closest or was the closest on the most characters through a little point algorithm that I have all typed up. Are we ready? I think our rule is when you place something or when you move something, you have to say a sentence about it to justify it. Although we play loosey-goosey with that rule. All right, I've got the tier board up here. We're going to start with Banana. Let's get underway.
I'm gonna put Anakin in the A tier because if you didn't watch the deck tech video Dan did that I joined him for. We like boss monsters. I like boss monsters, and he deploys and ends the game. And he's a lot of fun.
Who doesn't like boss monsters? All right, Mr. Ben, A for Anakin.
Yoda.
Be more creative than that.
Yoda, S tier.
Whoa.
Deck filtration throughout the whole game, and kill a dude when he deploys. Excellent.
All right. I see where we're going here. Well, I'm going to get some things out of the way for myself. Let's continue putting Jedi on the board. I'm going to put Mace Windu in D tier. I think Mace is interesting, but he's a control hero character in aggression heroism. And there's just so many things that aspect does better, and other heroes that do that better than him, that I think that even though he's got a really cool ability that can really add up throughout the course of the game, he sort of just isn't worth what he's bringing to the table.
I'm up. Let's go. What do we want to do here? Let's put Obi-Wan also in D tier.
I think there's Chewbacca. That's what I call him.
I think there's better leaders that have Sentinel, like Chewbacca. There's better leaders that do the healing thing, like Yoda or Rey. There's better Force leaders like Yoda, Rey, Luke. I just think he's in a bad spot altogether.
I'll take Palpatine, and in my heart, a hero this zany. Even though he makes me play units, I would love for this guy to be S. I think that's a little too strong. I'm putting him in A.
I'm going to do a movement, because you're all placing. You can place them where you want, and I'll try to correct this mess we have. But I'm bumping Yoda down a tier. I do like deck filtering. I do like removal, but I feel like the filtering is too slow. And there's a lot of cool things you can do with Yoda with heroism. Like the meme decks where you what is it?
You're my only hope.
You're my only hope into endless reserves and just play everything from your resource row. Sounds hilarious. But they require such a niche deck build that you're just going to puke against everything else, that I have found that he comes out too late to be impactful in my games.
I'm up, right? So let's go a Padme B tier. I think she is. You want a leader that filters, right? Padme can filter, and her restore is relevant. If she's locked into Republic, so I don't think she's super great, but I think she's solid.
Let's see. Let's get an easy one out of the way. I am going to place Nala C. I don't know, and I don't care how it's pronounced because I'm never gonna do anything except put this in the dumpsterest of dumpster tiers at the
Oh
bottom of
my
everything.
goodness.
Massive, massive disappointment. I'm really just unimpressed with everything this does, from the stat line to the effect, the healing. I thought there was going to be something there. I've met only tears and disappointment. So at the bottom, the flaming, like where the dumpster juice is, that's where I'm putting this thing.
That's
Okay,
gross.
if you're gonna dump on Blue Villain, one of my favorite combos, I'm gonna get my boy out here. Is this legal? Newt Gunray. I
Oh my,
honestly think so. We did this in the first set, right? And I said I think Vader's actually going to be a meta staple at some point during this wave, and then he became one. And I think Newt's the same way. I think that at the start of the meta, we're going to have a lot of aggro decks. That's what we're going to have right now, and we're going to evolve into mid-range to take care of those, and eventually it's going to roll into control. And what control hates more than anything else is that when you kill a body, it poops out another body, and Newt is like the king of that. I've tried to build a bunch of Dooku decks with exploit, but you care so much about initiative and not having your bodies removed. And Newt is just like, kill my things, I'll make another one. And I've had a lot of success with him, albeit locally in my small pond.
just ridiculous stuff.
You'll see. I'm telling you, a month from now, you're going to be like that Newt Gunray guy. I like him.
No, not this time. I'm gonna do a move. I'm gonna drop Palpatine down to B. I do think he's a lot of fun, and I think he's good, but I think while he breaks deck building, the play pattern you have with him is also super weird. So that's why I'm putting him in B tier.
I have to neuter this S tier placement. That is S sanity. I
Just, you don't
agree
understand
that
yet.
out of all of the new leaders that we got that like care about or react to clones or whatever subclasses, I think Newt is the best of those. It's still not S tier.
Fair, fair. Looking at my list, and everything is where it belongs. So let's do an easy one that no one will argue on. I'm going to put Django up here at S tier. I'm just going to be the S tier dumper over here. Django's really strong. We knew he was going to be strong. Exhausting was good. He got probably exceptionally strong because of the Boba suspension, but I think his ability in general is good. I know a lot of people like Boba Red with space, with the new cunning spaceship that damages on play. Personally, I like him with Barrage because Barrage makes it so the unit deals damage, so you can resupply, play Boba, Barrage off him, and exhaust an entire board, which is just a bonkers move when a leader is deployed. Leaders that don't have to exhaust to do their ability, really good.
Let's. It's my turn, right? All right, I'm gonna do another move. Let's move Nala Say up one to C tier. I don't think she's an absolute dumpster fire.
Madness.
There's enough good clones, and her ability when she deploys that they all basically heal, right? Isn't that what it does? Or when defeated, yeah, each friendly clone gets one defeated, they heal 2 damage from the base. There's enough good clones that you can make a solid deck when you have stuff like Wrecker and you have a tutor built in with Omega, right? So you can tutor more clones. There's enough clones that Nala Say is not completely dumpster tier, but I also don't think she's super great. So I think she's C tier.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll play something. I'm gonna grab Snips, and I'm gonna put it in dumpster tier as well. Coordinate. Without coordinate, this is do nothing. That's super unimpressive to me. That is the the idea that my opponent has the ability to just like turn my stuff off seems terrible. There's not a lot going on here that impresses me, and reliance on a keyword that I'm not that impressed with certainly isn't doing it. So bottom of the barrel, well, above Nala, but pretty low in my opinion.
All right. Well, I'll put another one out there that you're all going to hate. I'm going to put Wat Tamber in B tier. I'm pretty high on Rex. I really like Rex. But Rex is like pay a resource and exhaust me to create a 2-2 that's exhausted if I've done something else. And Wat Tamber is just like, he's just like Newt. He's super swarmy, and he doesn't care about tag. He doesn't need separatist units to die. Just if a unit dies, give another unit +2/+2. That helps you make Sentinels buff and strong, which is a fun deck to play. But it also helps you in like swarm decks, just like trade into their unit and then send your other guy at their face for a bonus. And I think that the +2/+2 is super relevant, and again will be popular once decks are trying to remove your units instead of go face.
Grievous. Let's put Grievous in the C tier. Given stuff Sentinel is cool, but it's like, okay, it has to be a droid. So you have droids with Grievous, but none of them are really that great. So I don't think Grievous is that great.
Jeez. You guys seem to have a much higher opinion of these leaders that like need you to do specific types of like unit interaction stuff than I do. I feel like a lot of that kind of left me a little bummed out, which is why I'm going to take Darth Maul and put him in S tier because this is a dude that doesn't care what your unit types are. He's like, let's push damage to the face. Face is the place. I'll do some face damage too. It's just simple. It doesn't ask a lot of me. It does it effectively. Like, let's run dudes over. I can't complain about any of that.
Face is the place in red. I love it. I'm going to put out another red friend here. This random Mandalorian that got put in this set. He's in aggression, which really wants to go face, and does have a lot of card draw mechanics, but typically I spend a bunch of resources drawing cards, and then I spend resources to use his ability, and then I have no units on the board and I lose. And I find that to be not a very successful way to win. So I'm going to put him in the dumpster tier.
If we move a unit, we're only allowed to move them one spot up or down at a time, right?
One spot at a time. And you can't go from D to S.
Whoa.
Otherwise, I would work Newt down and jump him back up. Don't worry.
I just wanted to make sure before we get too crazy. Let's get Rex and let's put him B tier. I think he's cool. I like his backside, his deployed ability. His front side ability isn't hugely relevant until after he's defeated when he's deployed. But he does have the ability to get you bodies if you have a bad hand and you couldn't. But I like what he does on his deployed side.
I'm going to bump up Mace Windu. I think the criticisms about his deploy turn are pretty fair, but built into sort of a tapestry of ping effects and damage effects that are coming from it's on his own. He's not going to make it happen, but in a deck that is throwing out a lot of this pinging damage and then his sort of like flame wave effect at the end, I think there's something there. I've had some success. Obviously, I can't move him up to S tier like Banana was trying to do, but I think he stands clearly head and shoulders above some of these other dumpster dwellers.
All right, I will do a move as well with Red Hero, and I'm going to throw Anakin up here with Darth Maul and Django. I think, and this has happened every set, I have put too many things in S compared to everybody else. I should have learned, but I haven't. I think Anakin has an awesome deck to build in every aspect pairing, and they all feel different. Anakin Vigilance feels completely different than Anakin Command, which feels completely different than Anakin Cunning. And it means that, like, even within one aspect, I've seen a bunch of people build Anakin Vigilance where they're not going all in on the healing and they're still leaning into Anakin's effect just to build a boss monster. And I've seen some where they, like, focus solely on the healing, where they try to use Queel to draw a bunch of cards. I think you never know what you're going to go up against Anakin. And any character that deploys and has Overwhelm with those stats and the ability to, like, scale their stat, they change the game. You have to plan around, how do I deal with Anakin when he flips now? Much like you used to have to do that with Sabine and Boba and other people in older sets.
I'll do a move. We'll bump Django down one. I think he's very good. He's not nearly as oppressive and as crazy as his clone kid that was wreaking havoc on the game. So I don't think he's on the same level. I think he's the flavor of the month, but I don't think he's on the same level as some of these other characters.
I'm going to punch Padme down to C. Coordinate sucks.
All right. Well, all you coordinate haters.
I am, yeah.
I can't move Padme. I found Coordinate to trigger way more than I thought it was going to. When they spoiled Coordinate, sidebar. When they spoiled Coordinate, I was like, wow, that sucks. Units never live. And maybe it's because it's early meta where people aren't playing a lot of control. But in all the games I've seen, people have actually been getting Coordinate off. And it's quite exciting when it does go off. My problem with Coordinate on Ahsoka versus Padme is Ahsoka's ability is like, let's make a unit fair by having coordinate instead of like just giving it the stats of like a unit that we had in previous sets. Anyway, I digress. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna
I agree
move.
with most of what you just said.
I'm gonna move Grievous up a tier. I really like Sentinel. I liked Chewbacca in set 1. I still think Chewbacca is a rogue deck that can take people down if they're not prepared for it. And I think that just like Chewbacca has a limit of being able to play low-cost characters and give them Sentinel, Grievous has just a different limitation. And there's plenty of droids out there that you can play him with. There's not a ton from previous sets, but there's enough in this that you can really make some cool combos with these droid Sentinels. Plus, his speeder bike's amazing.
Wheel bike is really good.
Wheel bike, it's amazing.
Placement, Asajj A tier. Really solid. Aggro leader, really fast. Cool ability, you can really leverage it. Asajj A tier.
I will put Dooku in C. There are certainly, that looks like B.
He said
Oops,
C.
C.
There are certainly
sure?
games where he looks good. I've had the like Rainbow Unicorn games where it's like, oh my god, this guy's unstoppable. But I've had way more games where it just doesn't line up. It doesn't feel like he does a whole lot. This is a color where there's already ramp just all over the place. So his like flip thing of letting you like play a dude cheaper with the exploit mechanic, it maybe in a different color that didn't have access to like a bajillion forms of ramp, he would feel more impactful. But I was pretty disappointed. When he works, he looks great. But I've had way more disappointing games where it's like, man, he is just not contributing to the win condition here with what he does. So C tier for Dooku.
Dooku is bad Newt Gunray. I agree. Well, I'm going to keep inflating stocks and bring Padme up a tier. Not because I don't think coordinate is hard to conditionally trigger, but because of all the aspects, command is the one where you should expect to be able to puke enough things on the board to make coordinate work. Whether it's playing Rex or U-Wing or whatever, you are going to get coordinate turned on, and she's a cool body for it. Who's going to end it?
I'm not ending it. I got movements to
I got
make
too
care
much
of.
fixing to do. Yeah.
I got too much fixing to do. This is out of control. Ahsoka up a tier. Let's move Ahsoka. I like playing her in Vigilance. You can play cheap bodies and go wide very quickly, and then on deploy turn, she's loaded up with lightsabers and just ends the game on turn 5. I've pulled it off pretty successfully the last couple weeks, so when she makes it work, and her ability, she doesn't have to hit units, right? Like Anakin's ability on his front side, he has to hit units. The reason I like Asajj and Ahsoka is because their ability, you don't have to hit units. You can go face and hit face harder off their ability. So I think her ability, when it's turned on, is too good to be in the same tier as Obi-Wan, whose ability just sucks.
I'm gonna push Ventress down one. I actually really, really like this leader. I like what she asks you to do. The problem I've kind of run into is the playing of that event almost sends up a flare. Like, oh, I'm gonna buff this dude, and it's a thing I want to be doing anyway, but it gives people that extra beat. I almost wish it was like play an event and attack, as opposed to having to use 2 actions to make her thing happen. I really like playing her, but the level of her placement in the meta, I gotta push her down one as much as it hurts my heart. I wanted this leader to be amazing, but I haven't seen that in the stats yet.
I'm going to put Rex down one because I think he's bad Padme. Like, we get 2 Republic command heroism leaders, and I thought Rex was going to be the one for me, but the more I play mono command, the more I like the card draw from Padme better than I like the sometimes token from Rex.
Also, her restore is super relevant.
It is.
It's my turn, right?
Oh yeah, you.
Looking. Newt Gunray needs to go down.
That's rude.
Yeah.
It'll get to me again. It's okay.
I'm just thinking like a blue villain. Like, I'm not a huge fan of any of the blue or green villain leaders this set. Like, I just think none of them are very good.
Time will come.
Like, Newt Gunray's frontside ability is so restrictive. You have to have 2 friendly units defeated. So that leads you into exploit, but sometimes setting exploits harder than setting up coordinates. So There's too many hoops with Newt.
Out of all the what kind of dudes are in your deck cards leaders that we got in this set, he's probably the best of the bunch, but I agree that he can be a little squirrely. And I don't want to end this here, really. I'm going to not end it, I guess. I'm going to choose to push Watt down a layer. He's a little bit looser than some of the other what are you doing with your deck kind of guys, but he is another one where if you don't have the support stuff in place for him to do his thing, there's those turns, there's those games where he just kind of does a whole lot of nothing. Not terrible, but yeah, I'm going to put him in C.
All right, I was going to end it, but after 2 transgressions pushing my separatist friends down because of their deck building restrictions, I'm going to have to push Mace
You can
down
tell
for
what
the
side
same
we're on.
reason. Because he has the same deck building restriction. He works if you do a bunch of ping damage and you build a bunch of ping damage in, but if you don't, then he just kind of flounders and flips to a mediocre effect. Get him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Out a window, perhaps. Defenestrate that Jedi.
So I don't think there's any S tier leaders this set. So I would like both of those to move down.
You be crazy. I think
You better
there's
start
7.
making
No,
some
I'm just
moves
kidding.
then, huh?
Let's move Maul down to A. I said what I said.
Just gear delete? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, move Maul down to A. Yeah, it's I don't think there's any S tier leaders this set. So Maul to A. That's my move.
All right. Well, I am going to finish things now, I think. We're going to take Quinlan. We'll slap him into tier A. Stripping shields off dudes is super relevant. It's not relevant in every matchup, but where it's good, it's really good.
Well, there you have it. I'm going to do some mathing in Excel while you all review the tier list. So I'll leave it up on the screen so you all can talk about how bad Dude is while I'm on mute.
I thought we all get one more move after the final place.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. We all get one more move. Oh,
You're
and I have
ending
to
it
go
early.
first. All right. Well, here's my boy. He's coming up. Because he goes like this.
That's so bad.
Make one of you push him down if you want to waste your last move.
I'm okay.
We're in the
I guess
end
with
game now.
Anakin being S tier. So, let's move Ahsoka up to B.
What is this madness? Yoda's going back up to S.
All right. Now I have to do some math.
Now we're
while
done.
You two comment about how bad Newt is while I'm on mute.
I mean, I think he's
Yeah.
the best of that class of leader.
No, dude, I think Newt's terrible. Well, I think Watt's
Yeah,
the worst. I think
Really not super impressed with any of these, you have to have this kind of unit or do the, it's just, it's so scripted. Maybe when the card pool's deeper, we can circle back and some of these are going to look a little bit better. The reason I think Newt is the best is because his thing doesn't check if you have done a thing to satisfy a condition. I mean, it does, but the condition is stuff dying. So his ability just sort of generates value for a thing that's kind of inevitable anyway. Whereas some of these other ones, there's turns where you maybe don't want to attack for Rex or whatever, and it sort of forces you into these inefficient plays. Although, I have to say, Ahsoka and B is probably the wildest take out of all these for me.
I have her on A tier personally. So,
Man, really?
yeah, she's in an aggro deck. She can be really fast if you go wide early. Turn it on.
It seems like
play
you guys have
2
been
1
having
drops.
more luck with coordinate than I have.
It could be a regional thing too, just the stuff that's.
Yeah, I mean, local meta certainly plays a role.
But yeah, last week I played Mono Rex locals and I had no issues getting coordinate turned on for Ayla and stuff. So.
All right. The final standings are in. I don't know if
what
we're
do we
prepared
got?
for them. Completely different than last time. This is
Okay.
shocking to me. In
I feel
third
like I
place
did really bad this time.
is Mr. Ben, who always wins.
Am I getting P then?
No, I'm
Or ties. With 17 points. So basically, if something's in the S tier, it gets a 1, and then you measure how far off you are from that. So I think, Mr. Ben, how many S tier heroes did you have this wave?
I had 4 this time.
4. All right. In second place is Banana with 13. So a lot closer to your final version of the list. But how many S tier heroes did you have?
0.
0. That's right. And in first, finally, not a tie in first, with 9 points is myself. And I had 2 S tier heroes, but it was Anakin and Django, so I was half right there. But I think it was the Newt that did me in A tier. he really belonged there where I had him.
Did not.
We'll
Did
post our
not.
deck lists in Discord as well, and on Facebook or whatever. Or not our deck list, our tier list, so you can see where our individual tier lists were compared to the group tier list. But this is where we have it by the end of the set, or somewhere in the set. We think this is around where these characters are going to perform. So let us know how wrong we are in the comments, because that's typically what happens in the comments. And I like to know how wrong I am so that I can play the right beater going to my store showdown in 24 hours.
I mean,
Yeah.
being
Any closing
confidently,
remarks
or
before
and
we
maybe
sign off for
confidence
today?
isn't necessary, but like being sort of like aggressively wrong about cards is part of the fun of this
It
type
is.
of a set release, you know?
Yeah. Talking about always being told you're wrong in the comments. I did that deck profile with Sam, who finished in top 8 2 days of SCG Con Columbus with Kira, and somebody commented a couple hours ago and said that he should have been playing the 1-drop Hyblon Enforcer because you can shield it and make it a 3/2, and that makes it really good. It's like, except for like Django's pinging and exhausting everything, so you're
You made top 8.
yeah.
I don't think he's going to complain. All right. Well, without further comment, we'll close up for tonight, and we'll see you in the arenas.